Hello everyone, you're listening to Northern Flights, a Park Pro podcast keeping you up to date with the people, tournaments, and culture of disc golf in Canada and beyond. Consider becoming a Patreon today at patreon.com/parkpro. Find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by DiscGolfPark. And now your hosts, Andre, Jesse, and Matt.
What? Where did everyone go? It's just me tonight. It's just Andre. Matt's out on vacation. He's out. He took a trip. He went and watched some F1 in Montreal, and then I believe he went to Croatia. And Jesse was slated to be here right beside me, but unfortunately he couldn't make it due to some work obligations. And I'm sure all of us have had those in the past. But yeah, so it's just me today, and I just want to thank you for tuning in. It's episode 26, and obviously thanks to DiscGolfPark and all our patrons for making this possible. We have an interesting episode. It's going to be pretty quick with just me running through everything. There's not going to be a lot of banter back and forth, and hopefully it's not too clunky. I'm usually the one trying to work the back screen for Jesse and I, and that gives me the other guys give me a little bit of time to make sure everything's going. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, in this week's episode, it won't just be me. We have interviews with two young and up-and-coming players in Zion White and Luke Levesque. They'll both be attending the World Junior Championships down in Peoria next week. And so stay tuned for those. Some interesting young players that, coming up. And then we have some Canadian tournament updates. We're going to recap DDO and obviously preview Des Moines and try to bring our obviously Canadian little Canadian flair to those. So, but first, this week in disc golf, usually we try to provide some fun, interesting stories of disc golf in our lives. Obviously the other guys aren't here, so I'll tell you kind of like what I've been up to in the disc golf world. Most of my time lately has been designated to my disc golf time has been designated to getting the Radium course up and running and updating the course and doing some coursework, course cleanup, and moved a basket. And yeah, it was pretty funny the other day. I was working on some home projects I worked at the course for 4 hours during the day, and then I went home. I was working on a course or some home projects, and then I got a call from another guy. And he's like, "Hey, we should move a basket tonight." So went back to the course and ended up moving a basket. So it was awesome. It was great fun. I enjoy the design and course building almost as much as I like playing, especially because you can always bring your disc and play the holes that you end up designing or redesigning and cleaning up, and it's kind of fun. You end up being the first to kind of play the new holes. So it's like it's when you're skiing, it's kind of like having fresh tracks. So super fun. That's kind of my week in disc golf. And my wife and I actually, she was going to bring me up to Nipica we're going to call it for Father's Day. We're going to call it Daddy Disc Golf Day. And we're going to play Nipica, but then ended up getting rained out. So yeah, we ended up taking a rain check, and hopefully we can get there sometime later this year. Awesome. Nipica's an awesome course. So always love playing there as much as I can. So some Park Pro updates here. We have the Foxwood coverage is nearly ready for commentary. So that means the editing is almost done, and then we'll ship it off for commentary. And then, the skins match, if I'm not sure if anyone, our listeners, many of our listeners know, obviously, if you're from the Vancouver area, if you follow Thomas, Max, Stu, or Casey on socials, you probably know that they played in a skins match down at Raptors Knoll right after the TCO. So we went down there and recorded that match, and we will be editing that, and hopefully it's slated to release prior to the BC Open is the plan right now. And the editing on that is underway. And then once we get ahead on those, we move on to the Big Bear coverage, which, I mean, that one was an awesome tournament to cover. And, hopefully we can start getting these out super fast for you guys. It's been challenging with our schedules of late to try to get the time to do the Foxwood coverage. And that's why, all the support that we can get from patreon.com/parkpro, that's all that support it goes a long way with allowing us to take time off of our regular jobs and make it possible to get this out faster. That being said, a lot of our tournaments do have advertising available. The Foxwood coverage, it's all full, but if you're interested in advertising with the Canadian Disc Golf Tour with Park Pro, let us know, because we have some advertising slots available coming up in the Big Bear, and obviously some of our tournaments further down the line. So yeah, if you're your business, if you're looking for some advertising and it's pretty affordable, let us know. Hit us up, info@parkedpro.com, and we can give you our sponsorship deck, and you can get some affordable advertising that's pretty directed towards the disc golf world. So, and but we did have some Canadian B tiers happening. We had one Canadian B tier happening. It was the Greater Niagara Open, obviously in Niagara Falls, Ontario. And in the MPO division, we had Cam Zanini take it down with Greg Grutenboer. I don't know if I said that right, but Greg Gutenberg placed second. Andrew Leyland finished third. It was a tight battle. There's 3 strokes between the 3 of those guys at the top. And Kat Johnson gets the win in the FPO division. I believe I saw on one of her social media posts that this was her first B tier FPO win. So congrats to Kat on that. It was this was an interesting tournament. There's not a lot of professionals not a lot of players in the mixed professional division or the women's pro open division. So good chance for getting some wins for those folk. And so we also have a couple of B tiers coming up this weekend. We have the 2023 Escape Sports Open. And that is in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. This one looks like it's a bigger event. There's about, I think it says 146 people registered currently, and some good cash being put up in this one as well. It seems like this might be probably the second biggest tournament of the year in Saskatchewan. I could be wrong. The Gold Eagle, obviously, this year it's an A tier. That's part of the Canadian Disc Golf Tour that's happening in September. But yeah, this one seems like it's right up there. So good on them. And then the MVP Open Satellite Tournament in BC. This one is a B tier. It's an AM-only B tier event. And it's played at the Willows from the Surrey... the Willows at the Surrey Disc Golf Club, or Surrey Golf Club. So this is an interesting course. I haven't heard of it. So if you know much about it, if you're playing in the tournament, maybe drop a comment and let us know what it's like to play in the Willows and play in that tournament. Love to hear it. Looks like that one's being put on by Chance Dad. So shout out to Chance. All right. Yeah. I think that's it for Canadian news. Why don't we, we'll talk about Disc Golf Park for a minute here. Obviously, our sponsor, Disc Golf Park, is a unique disc golf course concept developed in Finland in 2005. It is based on the idea of building sports facilities in an environmentally friendly way. Disc Golf Park provides great experiences for players of all skill levels, from beginners to professionals. Our main ideology is to introduce disc golf to new audiences. There are several options to suit any kind of course, and all official disc golf parks include professional and safe course design, Disc Golf Park pro targets, tee pads and tee signs, and an info board to welcome players to your course. The Disc Golf Park World concept consists of multiple courses designed for different types of players. Multi-golf is a new fun activity for the whole family, and in multi-golf, 3 forms of golf are played: foot golf, disc golf, and park-style pitch and putt. School Disc Golf Park offers students a new and exciting form of exercises for the physical education classes. A course suitable for schools can be designed even in a small area, for instance, a schoolyard. Furthermore, the costs of School Disc Golf Park are lower than those of regular disc golf parks. We also offer private and group lessons or clinics. For more information, check out the website at discgolfpark.com and request a quote today. All right. Huge thanks to Disc Golf Park, obviously, for supporting this and all of our previous podcasts. And I'm really happy to have them on board supporting Park Pro. And obviously, Maddie's just generally a great guy to have around. So, yeah, I think without further ado, we'll get to our interview with Zion White. And this is Matt here with Zion and her dad.
And joining us now, all the way from British Columbia, is Zion White, her dad Steve. Welcome to the Park Pro Northern Flights podcast, guys.
Thanks for having us. Hi, everyone.
Our pleasure. So we are excited to be joined by Zion as a younger disc golfer that will be attending Junior Worlds this year. That's right.
Yeah, I'm shocked. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, let's let the
coming up
country
fast
know.
too.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's let the country know who you are. So Zion, first of all, I guess, how did you first hear about disc golf?
Okay, so we were visiting some friends on Pender Island, and I think it was in 2019. They took us to the course. We played. It was fun. I know it was fun, but then I just completely forgot about it. And I think a year and a half later, we were going to Revelstoke, and they had a day pass where you could try a whole bunch of activities at the ski resort. And one of them was disc golf. And so my sister and I remembered, oh, this is the sport we played with our friends. And we tried it again. It was super fun. We did some research about courses nearby our home. And that's how we started. Yeah. It was quite cool.
Yeah, we got to Vernon. There's just a little 9-hole, very good beginner course here in Vernon. So we were able to buy a little beginner set and started practicing there, started playing.
Awesome. And how long ago was that?
So that was August 2020. And that was
Okay.
quite a nice thing. Like, I think a lot of people started during COVID. And one of the only things you could do was just go outside and sometimes not even go to the park or the beaches because those were closed. And so I love the outdoors. So that's like just the perfect sport.
Yeah, I guess that sort of goes into my next question. Are you an outdoorsy person before that? Like, are you into hiking or were you into any organized sports before finding disc golf?
Yeah, totally. So I played soccer. I think when I was 4, I started playing soccer. But at that point, it was mostly just and then sitting with our parents and not much soccer happening. But I played soccer throughout growing up, like house teams, played ringette for a while. I love hiking. Volleyball from grade 6 to grade 10. And yeah, we're a pretty outdoorsy family. We have a lot of extended family, and we're all very sporty. So yeah, it's been a big part of my life for sure.
Very cool. And so when you started playing disc golf, were you thinking about it as a competitive sport originally, or was it when you started out, was it just like a fun activity, or how did you go from, just having fun with some discs out on a nice course to, hey, maybe I want to compete with this?
Yeah, I definitely didn't think I would be competing as soon as I was. It was just kind of a fun thing. We would go to the Lakers disc golf course I don't know. At the beginning, I think we went a couple times a week because we were having so much fun. And then the first tournament I played was in Kamloops, I'm pretty sure. No, Langley.
Raptors Knoll.
At Raptors Knoll. And that was in 2021 in the spring. So that was kind of a interesting thing to see so many people playing disc golf competitively in one place.
And that one, interestingly, there were 3 girls in the junior girls division. There was Zion, her sister Verity, and her cousin Hope. They were the
From
3
Edmonton,
girls.
yeah.
Not too much competition at that level or in the girls division.
Well, that's
Yeah, for sure. It just started as a hobby, just something fun to do until I started being able to get more distance and then seeing other people in tournaments and kind of comparing myself. Oh, I think I could do that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that long ago that we didn't have any junior females and maybe, 1 or 2 females in tournaments, period. So,
oh yeah, I still get looks now where people are just surprised to see like teenage girls out on the course sometimes. But yeah. It's constantly just like kind of getting to be better and more juniors are involved in. That's pretty amazing to see.
Yeah. So what do your friends think? How many of them have you told them that you're a competitive disc golfer? Is this something that you're trying to get your friends hooked on as well?
My close friends do know. Actually, the first time I told some of my friends I was going in a disc golf tournament, they thought I was talking about a disco dance tournament, which is definitely not. And so yeah, some people still don't know what that is. I have some friends who are from like Sweden and Switzerland and all of that, so it's actually more common there. So they've played it before.
Yeah,
I've a couple.
from Norway, right?
Yeah, I have some Norway too. A couple of my friends have played with me, but they don't really like it.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
they do think it's like the perfect sport for me. So
Okay, good. And now, when you're out on the course, how do you approach a round? Is this, do you have a game plan going in? Are you looking to, beat your own personal score on a hole? Are you just trying to have fun and the score is what it is? What's your approach in a competitive round?
like in a tournament round,
Yeah.
or just So tournament wise, I kind of just feel good with how I play. I kind of only try like the fun, weird shots when I'm practicing. We have disc dice. I got them from one of my player packs, and so those are fun to roll. And then you try shots you never have tried before, and then sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But yeah, in tournaments, I guess I just try to play my best and like keep a clear mind. Yeah.
In the last tournament Zion was in, there was another teenage girl that she got to play with. Her name is Sierra in Gen. And she and Zion got to walk and talk. And she said it's really fun playing with another teenage girl who knows what we're talking about, if we're talking about an anheuser or a flip or just kind of disc golf lingo. So they have real rapport over that too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. And so is Father Steve, or are you caddying a lot? Are you just shuttling to and from courses? And what's the rest of the family roles in this growing sport?
Yeah, I enjoy runs with Zion. It's funny because when we first started, I was better, and I played sports growing up too, but it didn't take that long before he's kind of became on par with me. And then now the only way that I can beat her is if I play my very best day and she's having the worst day of her life. She's always some strokes ahead of me. So it's a good challenge for me, but at least I'm close enough to push her when we have fun going on rounds together and talking about it. Her Zion's sisters aren't into it as much as she is, but at the end of May long weekend, we're going down to Langley for the Raptors and BC Junior tournament. It's BC Junior Provincials, and it's run by Derek, and it's a great tournament. Last year they had 72 kids, age U18 to U6, and they have a full slate again this year. They have sponsors, great player packs. The kids have so much fun. So that's another really, really cool time. So Zion I can't give her any advice. So she kind of doesn't need me to caddy at all. So I might just volunteer to do some out on spot or something like that.
Sometimes it's good just to have someone to listen to your strategy and do you think I should do this?
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of family members just thought disc golf would be a passing phase, but now my mom is happy it's not, and she started playing with us too. She's a really good forehand, better than me even. I don't really have one, but
okay.
Yeah, my family's been so supportive through this. It's been fun.
Well, that's amazing to hear. And yeah, being a caddy doesn't always mean giving advice. Sometimes it's just being there when you're, celebrating a good shot or mourning a bad shot. So what's your...
I've watched a lot more disc golf videos than Zion has. Part of it's just because trying to figure out like things that I can't get that come intuitively to her. Like I'm trying to figure out how to get a snap and like my footwork and that kind of thing, where when I watch play, just like, I don't know how she does it because I feel like I should be stronger and be able to outdrive her. But anyway, so I watched quite a few more videos, instructional, that kind of thing.
I don't really like watching the videos because it just makes me want to go out and play. I would rather just play instead of watching coverage, but it's fun sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. So what are your goals for this year in 2023, Zion? What are you a goal setter period? Are you just sort of playing as it goes, or do you have some milestones either score wise or tournament wise or anything like that you're trying to accomplish in 2023?
Yeah. It would be nice to have another first place win. So hopefully I have a couple of tournaments lined up. Okay, yeah. So I have the Tournament Capital Open, I think is the first one I'm playing in Kamloops at MacArthur Island. That'd be a fun one. I was in that one last year as well. And yeah, it was cool. There were people from Alberta, Saskatchewan, like lots of different provinces. So that one I will be playing in, I think, FA2, the intermediate. Yeah, and then
the juniors.
the second one is the juniors championship in Langley. And so I think a lot of the same people. It was so well run. We got a really nice player pack. I actually got this really cool Firebird. Yeah.
Ooh.
Cool stamp. Yeah, and then it's just so fun to play with like other juniors. We had some competitions, just like in between rounds. And then yeah, the Worlds is the next one, the third one that I have lined up. I'm not making many goals yet. I don't want to like set my expectations too high, but I'm super excited. Yeah. And I want to develop some of my skills first before I'm kind of the tournament setting. So I'm going to be continuing my practicing in the backyard and the basement with putting and hopefully get some sort of forehand throw. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that leads into my next question because goals can sometimes be, tournament results, but everybody has goals within their own game, obviously, because nobody is a perfect disc golfer, even at the very top of the top. So you mentioned your forehand. I guess maybe describe people what your game is like, how you see your game right now. What are your strengths and weaknesses, and what are your development goals for your game? What would you like to get better at?
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like I have a pretty solid distance. So usually I can get to the basket. I won a long drive competition this past fall, I think. It was just me and one other lady who were competing, but I actually did throw some like farther than a lot of the guys participating too. So that was kind of fun to see. But yeah, I haven't really had to work on mid-range shots because at such a small course, and then usually being able to get right up to the basket, you don't really have to do those mid-range kind of approach shots too much. So that's definitely something with playing with like big courses with, I don't know, par fives and par fours, a lot of them. I'm going to have to work on those kind of mid-range shots just to get like accurate. I throw a lot of overstable drivers. And so I just really like throwing on an Annie and then in that beautiful S shape. Yeah, I'm thinking of one of my aces, which was, do you remember how long it was?
Which one in Thunder?
No, hole 8 in Vernon. It was like, I think almost 300 feet.
Yeah.
And then I just threw my my Zion, latitude 64 Zion, and just like on Anheuser, and it just went straight. And there were a couple other people on the course. One lady named Michaela, who I'm really I just love her. She's awesome. She like saw me from hole 1 and she ran over to give me a hug, and it was really exciting. But yeah, I really like those long kind of like curvy shots. They're just so pretty to watch. Yeah.
I absolutely hear you. And it was nice of Latitude 64 to make you a custom disc before you even started playing. Wasn't that thoughtful?
And it's actually discontinued, which is sad. So, but yeah, I'll just have to keep good care of it.
Yeah, well,
I've had to rescue it from a river a few times.
Well, I'll check my disc stash. I might have a backup or two. I'll let you know if I do. Yeah.
That'd be good.
And you have more than one ace. You said aces. I've been playing for 3 times as long as you. I only have one. How many aces do you have?
3. Yeah, so the first one was on Pender Island. It was a tonal, so we weren't quite sure, and then we were all listening though, and we heard it. It was using my relay disc, which was the free one that came with my PDGA membership.
Wow.
And there were some older like gentlemen playing on the course, and they started cheering so loud, and they told me later when we got closer they had never seen anyone ace that hole before. And so that was pretty exciting. The second one was that one I was just talking about in Vernon. It's the longest the course. Second longest. It's just wide open, and it's right in the middle of the whole course. So that was exciting too. And then my third one, I just was just on spring break actually with my Paige Pierce Fierce putter, and it was just a short 200-foot downhill, and it just went straight in. Yeah. It's always beautiful.
We went to the island for spring break, Vancouver Island. It was at Bowen Park in Nanaimo. That was a big course too.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So Junior Worlds, first of all, how did you find out about Junior Worlds? And then I guess maybe Steve, you can help answer this too. How was this decision process about actually going down and playing it? How did that go over?
Yeah, so I heard about it. I think, so there was a girl I played with a couple of times named Jordan Little, and she's, I think 11, no, she's 12 or 13. She's 13 now, I think, but she was 11 when I first knew her, and we were pretty even in skills. That was really cool. She's from Spring Island. And so then I think my dad just told me, oh, Jordan Little's going to be in Junior Worlds last year. And so we got to talk about that a couple times when we saw each other. And I know she was excited.
And then same in Kelowna, we've gotten to know Carver Whitford. He's a really strong player in Kelowna, and he went in a couple of times to Worlds. And so just kind of looking into it, we saw what the criteria were, and I was expecting, I didn't say anything to him, but I thought she might get an invite this year. So I talked about it with my wife ahead of time and said, if she does get an invite, it's going to be right around her graduation. So maybe that could be her graduation trip. And so she got a letter, an invite, and then registered. And it's really interesting too, because in the FJ18 right now, there are 10 girls registered. Mm-hmm. And in the MJ18 in the boys division, there's 120 registered, almost 50 on the waiting list. So
crazy.
It's quite a different beast there.
Yeah. Well, we'll be certainly excited to follow your progress, and we'll be updating people on the podcast as you go. What would you say to other maybe junior women that are, well, hopefully listening to the podcast, but if they're not, hopefully they listen to this episode at least, about playing disc golf compared to taking up other sports or hobbies, and how can we, as a follow-up question, I guess, how can we as a sport make it a little bit easier for women to join of all ages?
Okay. I would say for other women pursuing this sport, don't always compare yourself to the guys. You should get other women to play and just encourage each other. I know it's always really awesome. And I think there's the Crush tournament, which is an all women's tournament coming up. And so, yeah, it's definitely getting bigger. So don't feel like you're all alone. I know for juniors, you might always just be playing with other guys or your dad or one of their friends, but yeah, it's definitely possible to keep developing your skills even if you feel like you're kind of under them. And
I'd say there's good opportunities for girls, well, for guys and girls, but just with the growing sport right now, I know that we've met and become friends with Chris Hartman, who I think you've had on the show before, from the Trinity Western program, and he's a great guy and really good supportive of young people in the sport too. And so there are, just growing opportunities in the sport for the future too.
Yeah, it's getting a lot more popular, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
What was the next question?
So, what are your, have you put any thought to any long-term goals in the sport? Is this just going to be a lifelong hobby of yours? Are you thinking about, trying to take it a little bit more competitively? Have you thought about, finding a university, like you mentioned, Chris Hartman, a university that might have a disc golf program? How far out are you thinking right now in terms of the sport?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely always want to keep this as something fun. I always like, even if it's more competitive, I want it to still be enjoyable. It's such a nice just like mental health thing to be able to relax. I don't want it to be too much of a thing just becoming stressful. You can tell like all the best players in the pro tour, they do well because they love it, and they're really consistent. Like Kristen Tatar, I'm just amazed by her and so inspired. But I don't think I'll be ambitious enough to try for the pro tour. I am really interested in playing for university. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I've met Chris Hartman. He's a really awesome guy, and that would be a really cool opportunity if that happens. Yeah.
I wasn't kidding when I said I was going to look at master's programs at Trinity Western, because that disc golf program sounds pretty great.
Yeah. But yeah, in the short term, like in the near future, I will not be going to university in September. I'm taking a sort of gap year and attending a little Bible school on Thetis Island for a semester and then working. But I'm interested in going to Trinity Western, and that would be pretty amazing to be playing a sport as varsity, right, as an athlete. When I didn't continue playing volleyball in grade 11, I wasn't sure if I would ever get to play varsity sports, even though I knew it would be really fun. But I never would have imagined that playing a sport like disc golf for 2.5 years, I would be able to have these kind of opportunities again, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll just wrap it up with a couple of quick ones here. I might know the answer to this one already, but I'm going to ask anyway. Your favorite disc?
Zion for sure. Latitude Zion. I drew on it, but it's kind of, yeah. It's actually the perfect color. I had lost it for that long anyway.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you've been to some great courses around Canada, but what's your favorite course that you've played so far?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Very recently, we played Coal Creek Cumberland Disc Golf Course, I think it was called. And it was so well laid out. Lots of variety with distances, like elevation. It was really nice. I love Raptors. And then there's also one in Salmon Arm called Rusty Ridge, which is very forested, which is feels like how the original sport would have been played. And that's a good challenge for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And who's your favorite professional disc golfer right now? You said
right
you don't
now,
watch a
I
lot
would
of it,
say
but
Kristen Tatar.
okay.
Yeah, I really like Paige Pierce too, and I have the passion and the switches. Those are really fun. But yeah, Kristen Tatar is just, I love how she's so consistent, so humble, but also just so ambitious and just amazing. Yeah, so skilled.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think she's a lot of people's favorites right now. Hard to cheer against her. Okay. Well, is there, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like the Canadian disc golf audience and the worldwide disc golf audience that are touring into this to know about you, so they can cheer you on?
I think you want to give a bit of a shout out because.
Oh yeah, I wanted to just give a shout out, I guess, to Brambleback Disc Club. I wanted to play in this tournament, and they offered to give me a sponsored entry for the BC Open last year, and that was super exciting. I got to meet Jordan and Julie Moines, the sisters, and yeah, I'm just so inspired by them. They were very encouraging and checking with me after my rounds, and yeah, that was pretty awesome. But yeah, totally just get connected with the community, I would say, and yeah, we can make this disc golf like an even better community and better sport for everyone.
That is wonderfully said. Zion White,
Thanks.
we'll be following you. Steve, thank you so much for joining us as well, and thank you for supporting
having us.
one of our young athletes in Canada here. And hopefully we'll talk with you guys both down the road.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, take care.
All right, everyone, welcome back. You just heard from Zion and Steve. That's Zion's dad, and that was Matt interviewing them. And you heard it. That was an interview from a little while ago, and obviously we record that before the Tournament Capital Open. And just to update you on that, she finished second in the FA2 division. So strong showing from Zion at an A tier. Really nice to see her play well there. And then she also she mentioned the 2023 BC Junior Disc Golf Championship. She finished first. And that was a great showing from Zion there. And I've heard a lot of really good stuff about that event. And if you want to hear more, just stay tuned, because upcoming we have Luke Levesque and Johnny Monk. So here's that interview with those two. Hey everyone, it's Andre. This is the Northern Flights, an exclusive interview with Luke Levesque and Johnny Monk from Vernon. And we're very excited to have Luke on, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his junior career so far. And he's heading off to Junior World, so this is a part of our lead into that. And first of all, how's it going? How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing sweet. Just finished some math at school. It's going great.
Yeah, math. I remember those days.
I was never good at it, but learning through disc golf helps. I'm fine too. I just got back to Germany, so good to be back with the family.
Very good. And so Luke, you're from Victoria, BC, and you'll be making your journey to the World Junior Disc Golf Championships in Peoria. And actually, that's just coming up in a couple weeks here. So, are you excited?
Oh yeah, I'm hyped. Headed tomorrow's my last day of school. Missing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On Wednesday, we're flying out to Winnipeg, see my buddy Austin. We're driving down 16 hours from there.
Oh, awesome. That was going to be my next question. Is there you going down with anyone? So there you go. Awesome. And why don't we just start with a little introduction here? So how long have you been playing, and how did you first get involved in disc golf?
I think just over 2 years ago. I used to live in Whitehorse, and then I moved to Victoria, and I'd never actually met my dad before. And so then my dad lived in Victoria. And so just out of nowhere, I remember my mom had told me once my dad lived in Victoria. So I was like, Mom, so do I meet my dad now? And so that was 5 years ago. And so then slowly, I think I met him a few times, we went fishing, and then my mom told him I was an athlete. I just did a bunch of sports. So then he was like, oh, I'll bring him out to the woods, throw some Frisbees. And so right away, I sort of picked up the forehand real quick from similar stroke as tennis. And so I sort of got from there, sort of our weekly activity. We do it once every 2 weeks or so. And then just started playing more and more. I started really grinding about a year and a half ago. And then, it's been a process ever since.
Yeah, cool. So it was mostly that your dad played, and that's what kind of got you into it then?
Yeah, and then I got to the local scene, and then met some friends, and then mostly now I don't play with my dad too much. I mostly just play with the locals, get rides out with the boys, and sweet.
Cool. And how did you meet Luke there and Johnny?
That was actually super lucky that I did, to be honest, because we were just kind of building our team around Okanagan Disc Supply out of Kamloops. And I always like to, meet new people, and I always got along with the younger generation in general. And I just saw Luke and was pretty impressed by what he can do with the disc. And it was BC Open 2021, I think, right, Luke?
Yeah.
I think it was 21. And actually, casually after a round, we just played washers in the parking lot, and we all kind of got along. And I told Dan about him. And he said, yeah, absolutely. If you think he's a great fit, which he is, we welcomed him to the team just a week later, I think. And since then, we're kind of just buddies at tournaments and help each other out when needed. And yeah.
Cool. And did you have a strong showing in 2021 then? Was that your first year of sort of playing competitive disc golf, Luke?
Oh, well, that was sort of, I don't know if I have any tournaments actually in 2021, but I was, yeah, the Open was my first tournament. I didn't have a PDGA number at that point. And so I was just
gotcha.
hucking along at Raptors. And then, yeah, we had a big motorhome and we parked it right beside the OKDS tent. And then they were super friendly. So we just played some washers and got to know them. Super chill.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, I'm just going through your tournament history here. It's you looks like you joined the PDGA in 2022, and you played a couple of events in the MJ 15 division, and then mostly in the MA1. So you obviously, when you first signed up for the PDGA, you obviously had some talent on you. And what drove you to start playing at such an advanced level and in advanced competition before? And then of course you jumped into MPO this year, it looks like. So what do you credit your sort of rise in the ranks to?
I mean, I've always been super competitive, whether it's been like hockey or soccer. I've just loved sports all around, but I never really like got committed enough to like dial in one sport. I've always liked playing a mix of them, so I could only go so high with a sport before it would be like overwhelming and take too much time. So then I couldn't do my other sports. So it was like as soon as I got in, I was like, well, now I want to beat everyone. Obviously there's a thrill to beating the guys that have been playing way longer than you. So then my first tournament, and it comes like being young, it was always disappointed. It's always hard fighting with a mentality. That's really the like worst part of my game is still fighting off like the negative thoughts. But so when I started playing my first tournament, I think I like averaged just about 950, and I'm still 950 because there's so many up and downs that sort of hold me back. But I've definitely become like twice as good of a player as I had. And so all the MJ15 rounds, those are all because we have a series called Duck Golf around BC. And so it would always be Saturday is MA1 and MPO, and then Sunday is like AM divisions, including juniors. So I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this, get two extra PDGA rounds in. So I just played MJ15, get a second day in.
Well, that works out. And you kind of alluded to it a little bit. What kind of other sports did you play? Do you still play at this point?
Yeah, I've grown up playing hockey all my life, being from Whitehorse. So it was a lot of hockey, and then soccer was always my second sport. I got a little higher level in soccer, and I played one like elite island team for Vancouver Island. But then like after a year of that, it was really too much because it was like 6 days a week. It was like weekends are always in Vancouver. So yeah, it was, but a lot of hockey and soccer, I think.
Cool. And do you kind of, are there skills that, I mean, you kind of talked about tennis a little bit. Are there skills that sort of transition from hockey and soccer that maybe people aren't aware of as much?
Well, just because I've done so much, like those were my main two, but I've played like volleyball, baseball, basketball. Mm-hmm. I tried golf too. It's a fun feeling as well. But
yeah, sounds like a young person from high school playing all these sports.
Yeah, I think there's like so many small things that translate. Like from soccer, there's like my left plant foot before I go to kick the ball is similar to the plant foot on the forehand.
Interesting.
Getting the weight transfer for like a lot of power from the hips, like a shot in hockey for the backhand. The baseball swing isn't similar, but it's a lot of hips as well. So it really just taught me, so I picked it up faster.
Yeah, cool. And so with all these sports that you've played, obviously there's a competitive edge to all of them, and obviously that also translates into disc golf as well. Playing in the World Juniors, it shows a commitment to the sport. And what's sort of the difference between disc golf and these other sports that have allowed you to commit to disc golf over these other sports?
I think it's really the passion. Sort of 2 years ago when I started playing disc golf, I had a coach who was he didn't ruin hockey for me at all, like anywhere near that, but it was, practices were mostly just like skating and skating and skating. He just bagged us every practice, so it wasn't too fun anymore. And it sort of sucked my passion from hockey to disc golf. And so then ever since, the passion is always what drives me to enjoy something. And so ever since the passion's been at disc golf, it's just, putting practice is never boring. It's always fun. I always enjoy everything I'm doing. So it's never a drag getting out there and throwing late at night or in the rain.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And yeah, you've had some recent success actually in the MPO division. We kind of talked about you jumping up to the professional division. So far in 2023, you had a really good showing at the Dynamic Disc Tournament Capital Open, finishing 11th. And if you've seen coverage, we brought your name up a few times on the leaderboards. And how cool is it to sort of be doing so well in the mixed professional division?
I mean, it's sweet. Like the first round I felt was a little lucky on my part. I had one of the cards that was not in the total hurricane. So
Nice.
it was, a bit of luck involved there. Because my mental aspect of my game is so hard, it's always so hard after a round. It's like, could be solid to just like acknowledge that it was actually a good round, just because it's always highlighting the mistakes that I get to.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like it was a crazy good showing, but I was obviously more consistent. My floor keeps on getting higher and higher is what I'm happy about.
Totally. And so for those that don't know, Johnny also plays in the mixed professional open division. And Johnny, have you played with Luke before in a competitive atmosphere?
Well, we create our own competitive atmosphere pretty much with anything we do.
Yeah.
So I have that same competitive nature. Yeah, we played, I mean, where we met initially, we played a fun doubles round after, or even before, on that day. And that's where I really got super impressed because he said he only played for a couple of years, and I didn't think he's a liar, so I was just impressed by what he can do in 2 years of just practicing and enjoying the sport. But yeah, then usually we had the MA1 events where we were not in the same division, which kind of helped because we're not playing at the same times and so on, and I don't have to beat another superhuman. But now it's time that he moved up in our division, and I think he's right where he has to be. I think myself, I just played my first year of MPO, and that's where you really learn, that Luke can throw the disc and can putt well. We all are aware of that now, but it's really, especially the mental parts, it comes together with lots of rounds with people with more experience that are just cool, even if they bogey, right? And I think me and Luke are in the same boat there, where bogeys suck, and we notice that every single time. But just how to deal with it and focus on the next shot, that's, I think, where things really ripen a player in a way,
Mm-hmm. And what are you most impressed with Luke's game?
I think the one thing he's known for now is his distance. It's pretty incredible. I mean, he's a very tall person as well. I don't know, what are you, 6'4"?
6'2".
6'2". And yeah, I'm aware of how to deal with a lanky body. But he can put everything pretty well together. And yeah, seeing shots that go well over 600 feet just is something impressive to watch,
Yeah.
We had a couple incidents at Raptors there on the big par fives where just I'd never seen something like that from anybody. It was just kind of cool. And yeah, besides the distance, I think his commitment to the putting practice, like I could do that maybe here and there too. I would get way better. But yeah, just the committed aspect of how he looks at disc golf, I think, is pretty cool to watch and witness over the time.
Yeah. And Luke, do you agree with those assessments? And if so, maybe give us something that you're trying to work on right now.
Well, like the first thing that I really picked up from disc golf was realizing that distance was completely based on your mechanics. So I quickly just got obsessed with mechanics. And then, there's hundreds and hundreds of slow-mo videos, just hours and hours of just slow-mo videos on my phone. And man, there's some funny videos. When I started, I have my first ever form video that my buddy took. Oh man, I was leaning over completely, top half of my body. Oh man, I just fell over my brace. It was really fun to watch now. And so
Yeah.
that's really, so that technique technique's what got my distance. Like, plus I'm lanky, so it helps to get more speed, more time to generate spin. But yeah, and then now it's sort of, now that I've got like most of the form pieces together, it's sort of just dialing like angles, shots, and nose angle. Right now, I'm just really trying to dial in my putting for Worlds, as well as like Anheuser releases on backhand.
Cool. Is there someone that you model your game after? You mentioned, your form, working on your form. Is there someone that you're trying to replicate?
Well, I grabbed lots of videos. Like, I was starting off with videos of Drew and Paul. Then I shifted towards I looked at a few Eagle, and then now it's been a lot of Anthony Barella form videos for backhand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For forehand, it's been a lot of Ryan Sheldon, Eagle, a bit of AB as well. I was really interested looking at the new guy that just won on the Pro Tour. That guy had a cannon.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, totally. Johnny, did you watch videos when you were learning how to play?
After a certain time, I started, or that enough people told me that it really helps to just get visuals and watch videos. Maybe not as religiously as Luke, but I did get a lot of my game through and tips through videos as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole kind of where I was leading to is like I'm finding like more and more nowadays the players that want to get better, they're really focusing in on their form and taking the slow motion videos like you mentioned, Luke. And that's why I was wondering if maybe there is someone that you were trying to replicate when you're like putting yourself side by side. So but it's good to know that you're taking a whole bunch of different aspects of a whole bunch of different professionals' games and implementing them into your own. So let's go back a little bit again and let's talk about the we just had the 2023 BC Junior, and you took out the win. So tell us a little bit about that event and how that went for you.
I played it the first time last year, and it was just a blast. Like, it's a C tier because they can't offer like professional divisions, so
Right.
it can't get any higher. But we're treated like it's an A tier, like even better. There's food, there's snacks, there's water, there's like Gatorade. The prize pool is awesome. The like players pack is amazing. After the fact, they do like everyone gets around the basket, putts at the same time, and they did like. This year was ridiculous. They had like 20 prizes. They played so many games. So it was awesome.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, I played great golf first 2 rounds. And then round 3, I started off pretty hot. I was like 4 through 4, and then or 4 through 5. And then I had an eagle putt on 16 or on hole 6. And then I missed it from pretty close. And from there on, I got in my head, and I wasn't much of a pleasure to play with. I was getting a little angry. I was on tilt for I think the rest of the round, pretty much just throwing dumb shots, just fooling around. Just out of it mentally. So it's really just fighting back from that. I'm going to have to work on. And so, yeah, it comes with experience, I imagine.
Yeah. And luckily you had a bit of a cushion there. So you could kind of afford it, but that's always nice to see that you're working on that stuff too. So
It just shows the passion part again, right? Like, if everything goes well, then it's the funnest day on earth. But sometimes when we catch each other on a bad moment, it just proves that you love it so much, right? That's how I look at it. It's maybe a good thing, even though in the moment it feels like the worst moment of your life, right?
yeah. And so you beat out Carver Whitford this year, and he actually I believe he won against you in 2022. So was it nice to get the win over Carver?
Yeah, I remember last year Johnny he'd come down to caddy for us, see us at the end of the tournament, and last round he got in there at the end, and I was down by a few, and I had to hit a 25 footer, and I was pretty excited when I made it. And that put us tied. And then Carver made like a ridiculous step putt in C2 to take the win. So I was like, oh, what are you going to do? The guy doesn't miss inside like 80 feet. So he's good.
Yeah, I was going to say that Carver knows how to putt. So, that's cool. Johnny, and you're pretty familiar with Carver's game as well. So do you see similarities between Luke and Carver? Or are they sort of two different players, two different players styles?
Very much so the second. I mean, they share the one thing that they're just good kids. I think that's something to mention. Like
Yeah.
always good time around them and very respectful. Um, but no, I think they have a whole different setup of a game, where that is actually the beauty about disc golf, that we can all be so different and play so different, right? So where Carver is still very forehand heavy player, because that's just how he started. His backhand is definitely developing
Mhm.
at the same time. But I think Luke would rather step up to the tee for a backhand nowadays, if I can say that right. Um, you know how to throw both. I'm just saying, I think preference wise, it would be a forehand style player that can backhand, and a backhand style player that can also really
Mhm.
well forehand. So that is the main thing. And yeah, I don't know. Again, height. He's actually growing a lot these last little years, but Luke is just a very tall kid for his age,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
there kind of has to be a difference in the form and gameplay. But yeah, very fun to watch those two battle, because it could be anybody's game at this point.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't really want to jump in on that duo because I think I would get whooped myself. So yeah, it's a really, really fun time with them.
Totally. And so these experiences at BC Open, and obviously in some of the other competitions that you have had, what are you taking from these competitions and bringing with you to the two worlds? And well, I guess I should go even further in that. What are you hoping to accomplish at Worlds?
Um, I think mostly the last few tournaments has been really just I know I can put it all together. At this point, I've realized that I can beat any player in like most of the tournaments I play if I just actually put all my game together. And so now it's just mostly just trying to stay calm, just not let the bad stuff affect me too much. Because if I can stay in it, I can beat pretty much anyone I play. So it's really just trying to keep calm and collected and just throw my game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you have goals in mind? Are you going there to win? Are you hoping to at least get a top 10 finish, or what are your goals?
Well, I was telling my mom earlier, I'd be like, I wouldn't be mad at a top 20. I'd be okay with a top 15. Top 10 is what I'm really aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told her, but if I get in the top 5, you'll probably see me no smile after the course because I'd probably be in contention for the win. So I'll probably be angry.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well,
Yeah,
we did
that's
also
cool.
have a little discussion before you decided to go down to Worlds, because I got a call from Luke and he said, "Hey man, uh, I can't really decide because there's Am Worlds and then there's Junior Worlds, and with the age divisions, I think you will be one of the older players, right?
No,
In your
I'm young.
division? Oh, other way around. Okay, so you're playing
Yeah,
with the
'cause-
MJ 18s, right? Okay,
and
well, yeah.
and
So
just for clarity, how old are you?
15.
15. There you go. So 15 playing in the MJ 18, so on the younger side of that. Okay, cool.
yeah, but I think it was pretty clear to me the tournament that suits him better today in this moment of time is Worlds, because, like you said, at BC Juniors too, you will be surrounded with your kind of generation, right? Where Am Worlds is super mixed and extremely competitive at the same time. Juniors obviously as well, but I think it's a different type of competitiveness where I think he has a great shot, even being a younger player in the MJ
Mm-hmm.
18 division, to just see what's in there for him, right? Where is he? Where does he stand in the world, comparing him with mostly American players too? Um, to see if that's comparable, because it's hard for us to tell in Canada how any of us would do in the States, right? And sometimes we have examples where it goes really well, and we sometimes have examples where people didn't quite were able to keep up. But I think yeah, I think it's a pretty good tournament over the Am Worlds, because you can still do that maybe next year. Maybe you won too many pro events by then and you can't, but if you just decide to not take the cash, then you're totally eligible to. So.
Cool. And you mentioned that you're heading to and part of the world's festivities is you're actually playing in doubles as well, and I believe a distance competition. So Yeah, I'm assuming Austin's going to be your doubles partner, or
Yeah, yeah, we're pretty excited.
very cool. When did you have that conversation with Austin? How'd you meet Austin? Is he a friend from the past, or is it someone you met through disc golf?
He's sort of a friend of a friend. Last year, my buddy Matt and Carter, they both went to Worlds, and Matt had this friend from Prodigy named Austin that he was always telling me about. And so then they went to Worlds, and man, they came back with so many stories. I was like, well, I guess I better make the trip next year. And then we met at well, then we started talking on social media. This guy's a hockey player as well, so we got lots of stuff in common. We were both, yeah, we quickly became friends. And then we were like, I asked Carver first if he wanted to make the trip to Worlds again. He was like, nah, I don't think I'm going to do it this year. And then I was like, oh, hold on, I know Austin's going. So then I asked Austin, and then our moms started talking, and yeah, they set up the trip, and now we're ready to go.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. And yeah, so are you excited for the distance competition too, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I threw a few 360s and cam loops, see how it would go. It was a little bit more distance for sure, but it was tricky to get the angle and the nose angle right. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Cool. Is this your first time playing a distance competition, or
Yeah.
an unofficial one? I guess I'm sure you probably do some unofficial ones in the field with Johnny.
No chance for me, but yeah, we did. I tried at least.
Yeah. Cool.
What is it?
And
I just wanted
what's
to
that?
check the driver that Luke throws usually. Is that Hades that goes forever?
I
Oh,
throw like for flippy stuff. I got Zeus's, and then
oh
just destroyers for like neutral and stable stuff.
yeah, yeah, they go pretty far.
Yeah. Cool. And let's I'd like to move on to talking about a little bit more about the future. Do you see a future in disc golf and in your as a like possibly as a career, or maybe even collegiate disc golf? Is that something that you're factoring into your decisions moving forward?
Well, I was talking with Chris Hartman about collegiate disc golf, just because I know there's like AM status in there as well. So I didn't get a
Mm,
full answer, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm pretty committed to school as well. So if I ever do go touring, it's definitely gonna be school first and then go after. But
yeah.
I definitely, if my passion, which my passion is in this right now, but if my passion stays, I'm definitely going to continue grinding, continue trying to work my craft. So I can definitely see a future in here.
Cool. And does it have you looked into like any scholarships or anything like that? Is that something you're hoping to apply to, or?
Oh, well, I'm definitely still going to apply to like academic scholarships.
Mm,
I'm strong at school mostly, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked for disc golf scholarships. I didn't know that was a thing.
gotcha. I'm sure it is in the States. I know that. So they're starting to bring that kind of stuff to the education system. So it's really cool to see, the how much our sport is evolving and whatnot. And obviously you're a good example of that. You're factoring that into many of your decisions. And yeah, is there anything else you wanted to add, or?
I'm pretty dry.
All right, Johnny, you got anything?
No, this was fun to. I didn't know everything about Luke. Obviously, when we meet, it's all about disc golf, so it's kind of dive into your life a little bit. Maybe a quick shout out to the mom Manon as well. She's
Oh, for sure.
pretty a big supporter on his side and drives the motorhome around until he's allowed to do that himself. But yeah, no, great time.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Luke and Johnny. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you at the next one.
Sweet. Thanks.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We're going to close this one out real soon. We're just going to quickly go over the Dynamic Disc Open and the event that happened last weekend. And yeah, some crazy stuff happened on both sides. I don't know about you guys, but I watched a little bit of the FPO, and it was it was tied going into it was a three-way tie going into the last round. And it looked like early on, it looked like Holland was going to take it down. She was playing strong, and just kind of lost it a little bit. And Haley just kind of turned it on and ended up coming out with the win. So it was pretty tight on the FPO side, and on the MPO side, it's just as tight with a surprising winner, Parker Welk, taking it down, beating out Calvin Heimberg in second, and Evan Smith, Matty Orm, and Alden Harris in third. And yeah, this one also kind of coming down to the wire here, and it sounded like, Calvin Heimberg, having some struggles on a couple of holes without bounds and whatnot. So let me know in the comments if you've heard of Parker Welk before that showing. Really strong showing from him, and hopefully we see more of him on tour coming out, and hopefully he can show it in a few more events. So that was the Dynamic Disc Open, and then we have the Des Moines Challenge. This is one of my favorite events of the year. It's a really fun event to watch. There's a lot going on. It's a passionate fan base out there in Iowa. So, and it's strong disc golf played last year. It was really entertaining with who was it? Was it Burridge and Lazat ended up taking it down. So super interesting. And, on the MPS side, we have Thomas Gilbert as our two mainstays of the Canadians playing in this one. So Thomas Gilbert will be there, and Max Regetnig. Max, we mentioned a little bit on the podcast before, or on the last podcast, he ran into some transmission troubles with his RV, but it sounds like it's up and running. He's putting it to the test. And he said I don't remember where he said he was driving through, but they got warned they had tornado warnings and whatnot. So, super interesting go for Max out there, and hopefully he can make it there in time. Oh, and I just checked my messages. He just says made it to Des Moines in time for a putting session in the dark. Looks like we're playing this one blind. All right. He said not really, since we played it last year, but still. Anyways, so that's Max. Just got the update right there. Interesting. And then, on the FPO side, we actually do have a Canadian playing in this. On the FPO side, it's not often we get to say that. But we have Chantel Budinsky made the trip down. It's always nice to see Canadians come down and play. And I just keep an eye out on her this weekend. Show her the support. We'd love to see as much Canadians down there as we can. And that's honestly, I think that's all I got for this podcast. I mean, it's kind of an interesting one with just me running solo, but hopefully you guys got some entertainment value from those two interviews that we had. And don't forget to check out DiscGolfPark, obviously. And then, we're going to push the giveaway. So the giveaway, check out the last podcast for the giveaway. And all comments on last video and this one will count towards that. And obviously, if you're a patron, you will also automatically get entered. So join the patron for as little as $1.50 a month. You could become a patron and help support us as well. And you get to automatically entered into all these giveaways. So, we got so many discs that we're going to be giving away this year. There's a bunch of them behind me, kind of behind this basket here. And you kind of see them there, right there. There's a bunch of there. Most of those are slated to be given away from various, the podcasts and other stuff that we have going on. So join the Patreon. It's the cool thing to do. And since Matt's not here to sign us off, I guess for the rest of the guys.
From all of us here at Parked Pro, some people are going to want to listen. Do it lots.